Welcome to Learn Japanese lesson number 28. In this lesson, I will be dealing with verbs. I will discuss conjugation of verbs. There are three groups of verbs for conjugation. The group 2 and group 3 are the ones I will be discussing in this lesson. The group 1 conjugation algorithm will be discussed in the next lesson. Verb conjugation is the method of deriving various forms of the verb from the plain form. Despite the many forms, a clear pattern exists. These forms can be generated with a conjugation algorithm. The prerequisite for finding this conjugation is knowledge of plain form of the verb and knowledge of the group to which that verb belongs. In this lesson, we will be covering group 2 and 3. The three groups of verbs are differentiated by their verb endings. Practically all verbs end with the over U. Now, the last but one letter and the last but two are the ones by which these groups are differentiated now. The group 3 verbs are known as irregular verbs. This is because they really don't have a conjugation algorithm. Basically, there are only two such verbs. One is kuru and another is suru. Kuru is the plain form of kimas, which means to come. Suru is the plain form of shimas, which means to do. So, in these two cases, we need to know all the various forms by normal means. We cannot use any algorithm. Now, let us see the examples of group 3 verbs. There are really, these are really not examples. They are the entire set of group 3 verbs, really. But then the forms that we used are only limited ones. Anyway, we have already seen the various forms of suru. Suru is the plain form of shimas, and we already covered them in the lesson, the previous lesson. Now, I'll be going through the other verbs also in the same pattern. First, we will have the present tense. Shimas is for the present tense. Shimasan is the negative form of present tense. Shimashta is the past tense. Shimasan deshta will be the negative form of past tense. Shite is the te form. Shite imas is the present continuous. Shite kodasai is for a request. Shimasho is suggestion. Okay, so these were forms. Now the equivalents for kuru. Kuru is the plain form of kimas. The equivalents will be kimas for the present tense, kimasen for the negative. Kimashta is the past tense. Kimasan deshta is the past negative. Kite is the te form. Kite imas is the present continuous. Kite kudasai is the request. And kimasho is the suggestion form. So these are the various forms. Now let's move on to the verb in group 2. The group 2 verbs are known as eru and iru verbs because they end with eru, eru, or iru, iru. The last three characters are the ones by which these are differentiated. Conjugation in these cases is performed by dropping the last two letters ru, r and u, and then appending the various form extensions. The form extensions are masu, masan, masta, masan deshta, te, te imasu, te kudasai, and masho. These have already been illustrated in the case of shimas. In the same way, we need to just attach these extensions. We need to drop ru. That's all that we have to do. There is one small catch. There are a few verbs that end with eru or iru, but they are group 1 verbs. How do you know this? There is no easy way of knowing this. If you have a dictionary, you may be able to refer to it, and they will mention whether it is a group 1 verb or group 2 verb. There is no other alternative. At least I do not know of any. That's the only catch. Otherwise, eru and iru verbs conjugation is very simple. You just drop the ru and append the form extension. Now let's move on to some examples of group 2 verbs. Niru, to see, and taberu, to eat, are two examples. You see, niru ends with iru and taberu ends with eru. But we have put a small hyphen before ru, that is to indicate this is the point from which the conjugation, transformation or substitution happens. The part before the hyphen does not change. The part after the hyphen is dropped and we simply attach the form extensions. That's how these verbs are formed. These conjugation forms are formed. Now, let us see what happens in the case of miru. The massive form of miru is mimas, means see or will see. This is the present and future tense form. The masan form is mimas, mimasen. This means do not see or will not see. This is the negative present or future tense. The masta form is mimasta. This means saw. This is the past tense. The masan deshta form is mimasan deshta, meaning did not see. This is the past negative. Mitte is the te form. Mitte imas is the te form. Te imas form. This means I am seeing. It's the present continuous form. Mitte kudasai is the te kudasai form. This means please see. It is the request form. Mimasho is the suggestion form. It stands for let us see or shall we see, depending on whether it is a statement or a question. Let us move on to taberu. Tabemas means eat or will eat. Tabemasen means do not eat or will not eat. Tabemasta means ate. Tabemasen deshta means did not eat. Tabette is the te form. Tabette imas means eating. Tabette kudasai means please eat. Tabemasho means let us eat. Tabemasho ka will mean shall we eat. So those are the various forms. Let us look at a few more group 2 plain forms. We already seen the plain form of eat and see. Eat is taberu. See is miru. The other words are sleep. Sleep is neru. Neru, nemas. Nemasen, nemashta, nemasen deshta, nette, nette imas, nette kudasai, nemasho, nemasho ka. These will be the variations. They are very simple. Think is represented by kangeru. Kangeru, kangeimas, kangeimasen, so on and so forth. Teach or inform is represented by oshieru. Oshiemas, oshiemasen, so on. We have already seen one verb, imas. We saw two of them already, imas and arimas. Imas is a group 2 verb, arimas is a group 1 verb. In the case of imas, the meaning is stay or there is, choose for animate object. But you only apply the negative form and the past tense form. Don't apply the they form and others. Only the negative and past tense are applicable to imas. Now let's have a recap of what we learned in this lesson. We learned about group 2 and group 3 verbs among the 3 groups of verbs. We learned that conjugation algorithm. Groupings are classified by the plain form verb ending. Group 3 verbs are irregular verbs and there were just 2 of them. Group 2 verbs ended with eru or iru. Some of them may be group 1 verbs also, so we need to know which group the verbs belong to. The conjugation for group 2 verbs is done by dropping the last two letters or and u in the plain form and adding the form extension. We saw examples of these verbs. These are things we did in this lesson. Well, that brings us to the end of lesson number 28. Please visit my channel. I will read the 100 for other lessons. I also would like to have your comments and feedback so that I can improve on this or provide you some clarifications. I hope this has been useful. Gambate Kudasai.